Hey guys, CDTVThaG here, and the G of course stands for got back from my holiday in Amsterdam yesterday, which, if you're wondering why I only did reactions to 3 of the XXL freestyles and then just stopped after that, it's because the timing of my holiday wasn't exactly convenient, but that doesn't matter for now because today we are going to be reacting to the new album from Rich Brian called The Sailor. Now, a lot of new music dropped yesterday, and this album is actually the one that I'm most excited for out of all of them. And I think a lot of people might be surprised when I say that because there's a lot of people that still don't take Rich Brian seriously. Have you even listened to Yellow? That song is magnificent. And that's why I'm so excited for this, because it seems like he's taking such a big step in a very different direction from Amen, and I hope that's, you know, kind of what this whole album is in the same vein of. Not sound-wise, just in a completely new direction, you know, a completely improved direction. I've said before in my reaction to Yellow that I was a big fan of Amen, but that song just completely blew it out of the water, so I can't wait to see what he has in store for this whole project. So with that being said, let's not even waste any time. I'm so excited just to jump into this and see what Rich Brian has in store. So track number 1 on The Sailor, it's titled The Sailor.
The time flies when you spend your nights in the West End. I didn't know this place come in the form of a best friend. Woke up with a bitch, we didn't have a conversation, man. She just creamed on my name. When times are good, I do not pull my phone out, I adore ya.
Nice.
I guess if I don't drop a song today, then I'm just lazy. I haven't dropped a thing in months, so what does that make me? But then again, I'm somewhat famous, you supposed to hate me. I don't write distance, I just write songs. But then again, if nobody gets hurt, then where's the fun?
Oh, okay.
This morning,
we doing beat switches already on the first track?
she cracked a smile and said,
Ooh.
can you answer this question of mine?
This is giving me Mad Blood vibes by Kendrick Lamar. Okay, getting deeper with the questions. Oh, who produced this? This bit is nice, man. This was produced by Rapapapa and Bekon, who also produced Yellow, so yeah, talented producer. Oh. Alright, so that flows pretty smoothly into the next track. So yeah, interesting opener to this one. One thing I want to note that kind of hit me straight away is that I definitely think you can see where some of the influences for this track come from. For example, with the verse on this one, the beat during that just instantly clicked with me as something that sounds like an Odd Future style of beat. That's the kind of vibe I got from that. And then with the outro, where he was having this spoken word kind of bit, where he was talking to this woman, that very much reminded me of Blood by Kendrick Lamar, the opening track to Damn. It had a kind of similar setup to it, you know, walking down the street, some woman stops you, starts talking to you about this weird stuff. So I think that was a definite inspiration for this track. But even saying that, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, solid verse. Production on this thing I feel like was the main highlight for me, but the verse was solid too. It was pretty much just like a nice, like, kind of cocky verse to start up the album almost. And there was also a little segment in here where he's talking about, I guess if I don't drop a song today, then I'm just lazy. I haven't dropped a thing in months, so what does that make me? But that's fine, okay? If you're going to come back in months with songs that sound like Yellow, and I'm assuming a whole album that is hopefully going to be incredible, then that's alright. Great songs take time. So yeah, it was a good opener, nothing that I thought was insane or crazy, but it was a good opener. So track number 2, Rapapapa featuring RZA. That's a nice feature to have on this one.
I'm gonna waste time up and down, better park on site. That pussy gon' make me want fight. Gotta go, wrap it up, that pussy gon' bite. Go, I'm a trooper, I'm a strike like a Pablo. If I need some money, then
Pablo's, man. Modern Warfare 2 memories.
She older than me, but she call me da 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 da. Missy Elliott flow gon' hit like da 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 da. About yourself, but true. Had to rock the boat and you forgot the table turns and move. Why these people?
That flow is nice.
Lean in my heart, popping another apple. Everything plain, keep acting like it's casual. Put your pants down, we run into the bathrooms. Pussy got me singing, I forgot I was a rapper. Way we won't play, feeling like some actors. You ain't made it yet. Suck on the nipples like Bon Appetit. Don't tell me pull up a vision.
Suck on her nipples like Bon Appetit. Man.
We wait too young, so it's wide out in this bitch.
Man, he has just stepped up everything so much since Amen. Topically and content-wise, this is a track that could be on that album, but the vocals are more improved, more varied. It just sounds more well put together.
Rich Brian was born to be rich, with talents and balance, and the ability to face life challenges.
He's got that RZA cosign, man.
plus your refinement. Focus your strength.
First Ghostface, now RZA. That was a song I think I enjoyed that more than the intro. And man, the one thing that really struck me on this track was the amount of different deliveries that Rich Brian had on here. Like, I'm pretty sure, just from memory, almost every song on Amen was just like a rapping track, you know? Rich Brian would just rap. There wasn't a lot of melodies or singing involved, and he's changed that up on tracks like this. Every single verse has a bit of a different flow and a different sound to it, which is really nice. It keeps the song moving along nicely. It makes sure it doesn't get boring at any points. Overall, this was just a great track where I feel like Rich Brian's evolution is just so clear. So let's go on to the third track. Like I said, I've already heard this one. The reaction to it is up on this channel if you want to check it out. And that is Yellow featuring Bekon. I still don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but basically to sum it up, I absolutely love this song. I think it's crazy. I've listened to it so much since it came out. I've pretty much been playing it non-stop. It's one of my favourite songs of the year so far. I just think the emotion in it was crazy. It wasn't what I was expecting at all, and it just sounds so different.
Please don't call the Reverend. I don't need no help.
He gets so much emotion in his voice in this song. I love it. Out of the first three, this is undoubtedly just still my favourite song from this project so far. Like I said, full reaction for that one is linked below. Absolutely love the song. Still holds up on like the 100th listen. Still love it. It's not getting old for me. I think this is really the track that kind of showcases how much effort Rich Brian put into making this project, you know, sound completely different to his last one. So let's move on to the next one. Track number 4, Kids. This was released as a single, but I believe this came out just as I was going on my holiday, so I haven't heard this one yet. Let's get into it. Whoa, okay, I'm liking the production already.
Numbers on the board and blowing more digits. I haven't started, man, these are just the before pictures.
Nice.
Been in the studio, I forgot how to sleep. Not trying to make an album, they forget about it in a week.
There it is. Right there, he just said what I said about the last track. He's obviously working a lot to make these songs sound like something different. And there he just said, you know, he's been in the studio, not sleeping, because he's not trying to make an album that people forget about. Hey man, a third of the way through, I don't think they will. I'm certainly not, you know. 4 tracks, and I already love this one from the first 30 seconds. Is there gonna be a single bad track on this? Who knows?
I used to be the kid, now the kids wanna be me. Grateful for everything I become, but the throne looks more comfortable than this chair I'm sitting on. Before we gon' recover, just a man with a vision who mastered and causing troubles. Man, I can't see the finish line, fall back. I know he created a legend in 99. Fuck pretend.
Christ, I forgot he's so young.
The type of shit that made me cry when I recorded. This is the type of shit that still gon' make me proud even when I'm 40. I rap it.
Man. Oh my god. This is it. Production kind of reminds me of some like Lupe Fiasco type stuff, like Food and Liquor, with that, you know, orchestral kind of triumphant sound to it. That was amazing. There was a really cool line there at the end. It was a nice bit of wordplay about industry plants, I think. He's saying these plants only grow just to get cut and disposed. That's a cool little wordplay about industry plants. This whole song was just like a really triumphant, victorious sounding track where Rich Brian's celebrating where he is. He just sounds confident on this one, and again, this is not something that you would hear on Amen. And like he said on this track, it's because he's really taking time with his music and wanting to improve as an artist. Like, he's striving to be better and make better music and make an album that really lasts. And, you know, it's resulted in the best music that he's released. You know, I don't need to hear the whole album yet to say that at least some of this is the best music that he's released so far. Especially the 2 singles, Kids and Yellow. They're probably like almost the top 2 Rich Brian songs for me. So yeah, let's just keep this strong streak going. Track number 5, Drive Safe.
Don't know where to go. Construction every turn up on the road. Live life thinking why it's going so slow. You waited way too.
Oh, this one is like vibey. Is that even a good way to describe a song?
Good times, it's a past tense. Got me blinded from the sunset.
Oh my god. Rich Brian should sing more, man. It sounds good.
I was past too slow, need no time to grow. Thank you for the memories, I don't know what it means. It's broken, don't know how to fix it. I need a minute, I'll never go it like a hiccup. I'm far from finished, here comes better days. All these thoughts I have in my head. Your drive safe, will I see you in the
goddamn strings again. Just like on Yellow, man. Oh. This man is too young to be making music this good, man. So this one was pretty different to everything we had on the album so far. There was like no drums on this track. Really a lot more kind of mellow and an emotional song. Not like intensely emotional in the way that Yellow was, but more kind of like melancholy and reflective. I think this song is about a long distance relationship, because Rich Brian seems to be talking about someone that he's in a relationship with, but he doesn't get to see that often. You know, particularly the lines where he says, "Gone too far to change, time to get your rollerblades. That smile is worth the wait, here comes better days." His singing on this is so good. Again, the production. This track was produced by Rappy, Diamond Pistols, Rich Brian and Bekon. Rappy and Bekon seem to be all over this with the production. Every single track has been fantastically produced. I'm assuming Bekon was doing like the strings at the end, because I think that's the kind of sound that he's known for. It was a slow song, but it didn't feel like boring or like it wasn't going anywhere. It kept moving forward and it was just really enjoyable to listen to. So let's move on to the next one, track number 6, Confetti.
Blow me like confetti, on that green, green, man, I got the acid in me. Walking around the party, yo, it's looking like the perfect blend. Got my right hand with me, I would never need no fuck, no fence. She got her no range, she got 2 jobs and a kidding. Still got nothing, give me net. You a lover, to the club, don't tell me you deserve respect. Yes, I be rapping, all you do is talking fast, man, I'm sure you could probably do more than that. And I still got that warm up in my system, 4-5 proof, that shit is so hitting.
This is not how I was expecting this track to sound from that like intro segment. Completely different. Even the bangers on this album are like really well put together with like multiple different flows, styles of vocals. This is so good, man. The beat on this one was insanely hard. Just the way that the 808s and the kick drums were hitting it was just like a barrage of bass, man. A barrage of sub bass. Was not expecting it from the intro. The intro sounded like so mellow, and then just bang, the drums kick in like that, and it takes you aback, but that's good. It's definitely less content heavy than like the previous 3 tracks, but that's fine, because, you know, not every single track needs to be absolutely packed with content. I think it's good. It's a good little break from like the more emotional stuff on here. I love what he's doing on this album, man. I love it. If the other 6 tracks that are left are on this level, then this is almost definitely making it very high on my albums of the year list. So now we're moving on to track number 7, and it's called Vacant.
Biting so much, I forgot how peace feels. If you like that memory so much, that you should keep it. No, it ain't my fault, he cheated. Why you say that I got secrets? Well, I'm here trying to make you breakfast. What the fuck you think's my intention? But starting to despise my reflection. It's time to let it go.
Is that Brian? I can't even tell at this point. Man.
You just putting up your walls for the perfect couple. No, not think about leaving, but if you just ask a couple more times, I just might. If we fight, then it's my fault, I don't get you. You ain't never talk about our good moments. Your bed feels better when I'm on it.
So what I got from the lyrics of this track was that it's basically about a kind of dysfunctional and toxic relationship. Brian's talking about a girl that he's with who had problems in the past with guys. You know, someone cheated on her before, so she kind of is suspicious about every guy that she's with, including Brian. And clearly it causes a lot of fights and a lot of tension. This is something that's kind of frustrating for both of them, because on the girl's like side of it, she can't trust anyone that she's with, you know, based on past experiences. But for Brian, that's frustrating him because he knows that he's not like that and he's dedicated to the relationship. And it gets to the point in the second verse where he's like, oh, well, if you think I'm cheating on you with all these girls, why don't I just go and do it? A lot more storytelling on this song. You really put a lot of emotion into the lyrics, and I think that really came across. I like songs like that. We've got like a good mix of like tones and moods on here, and I'm really wondering if that was him on the chorus. I think it was. And if it was, I didn't know he could go that high a pitch. But Vacant was a great song. There hasn't been a single bad song on this yet, and we're more than halfway through, so that is fantastic. So let's move on to the next one, track number 8, No Worries.
Breaking down, I'm barely breathing.
Oh my god. Rich Brian, what are you doing to me, man?
Out of socializing, that's what homeschooling did for me. It also got me money and a whole new identity. So call my friends over to get we don't need all. The game is on, the beers are gone.
That's it. All you need is a cold one and the boys. Oh. We're about to get some drums on this.
Yeah, wanna do this shit, it wasn't nothing accidental. Hey, this shit gets so boring.
Okay.
Switch it up a little. They don't come with no problems. Oh, been on fire, but my heart is cold.
It's hitting those emo rap vocals.
Never cover basic, only fuck. I'm on occasion. She don't ever need persuasion, cause she said that I'm a favorite.
Yeah, definitely hitting a bit more of the emo rap vocals on this one, which was pretty good to hear, man. He did it well again. I like how this track kind of built up, you know, the first part of it. There wasn't really any drums, or at least the drums were, you know, very like light, so that when they actually did come in and the verse started, it was super impactful, and the build up to it was really great. And one thing I've noticed, you know, throughout this whole album, Rich Brian seems to be having a lot of issues with like fake friends and trusting people around him, you know, since he got more famous, which I guess is just something that comes with being famous and being in America. You know, I'm not sure, but if he's in LA, I've heard like a lot of YouTubers say that LA is pretty much, and no offense to anyone that lives there or anyone that's famous there, but a lot of YouTubers that have moved there said it's like the snake capital. So if Rich Brian's out there, I can see how he might get surrounded by people that only want to be around him because he's famous. It's obviously something that is on his mind a lot. Yet again, not a single bad or average song on this project so far. Next one, track number 9, 100 Degrees. Little bit of a poppy vibe to this one.
Dancing in the parking lot, jamming to some old school. We the kings of the city. All the lights look pretty. We in the club like Fetty. Hey, keep my feet up on the dash. We just sit up and free. It don't feel like the sun.
He must have been working with a vocal coach or something, man, because he's just unlocked something with this album.
All you hear is bad sounds, turning up the music when we get a little too loud. Turn around and smile, oh she got the pearly whites.
It's a very kind of poppy, happy summer rap song. It works perfectly as that. It's also kind of coincidental that it dropped yesterday when there was like a big heat wave in Europe, so it was probably up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It just seems like a kind of happy, upbeat song about feeling happy on a summer day where the weather's just beautiful, it's really sunny and nice. And the beat and the way Rich Brian delivered his vocals represented that perfectly. I mean, it's undeniably a lot more simplistic lyrically than every other track on the album. You know, we had some, I don't want to say basic, but they were kind of basic bits of rapper-based wordplay, like Two Bad Boys like Diddy, We in the Club like 50. The most like simple similes you could go for, but I don't think this one was trying to be complex with the lyrics. Even if the lyrics were simplistic, his vocal delivery was still really impressive and fun to listen to. This is just so amazing. It's one of those albums that I'm so happy I didn't like listen to in my own time. It's one of those albums that I'm happy I just recorded my reaction to because I love it so much and I want to share those feelings of love with you guys. This is phenomenal so far. So let's just move into the last stretch of the album, last 3 tracks. Track number 10, Slow Down Turbo. This one sounds like it could have another summer vibe again. Man, this album is just making me feel happy. I'm gonna listen to this so goddamn much.
When I shoot, ayy, they gon' get a top fade. Ooh, she bad, and she always shine around, they boo. When I shoot, ayy, they gon' get a top fade. This a horizontal, why you looking at me sideways? And then the boo like, who the fuck I gotta kill?
Where did this come from? Oh, his vocals are like panning from left to right. Oh my god. That was so nice. The way that sped up towards the end and it was panning from left to right. Oh my. I can't express the happiness I feel when I love an album this much. Bekon again with those beautiful ass vocals, beautiful production, just This is 100% one of the albums of the year. The amount of variety on that track was just amazing. In 4 minutes, he managed to switch it up so much. My favorite part was absolutely that second verse where his vocals were kind of panning from left to right, and then they
sped up towards the end and got like higher pitched.
I don't know, I think it was pretty like creatively done. There was just so many like different sounds on here, but it all worked so well together. It didn't feel like it was, you know, just random pieces of different tracks thrown together. It all worked really well, and all the segments flowed into each other really nicely. The production, the vocals, the flows, the mixing. What else can I compliment? The album cover looks really nice. The length, the album isn't too long. It's 12 tracks, 44 minutes. None of the songs have felt too long. The album hasn't felt too long. It's really good. So, let's move on to the next one. There's no way that this album is going to become bad with 2 tracks. Track number 11, the second last one, Curious.
Nobody knows it, all of a sudden I'm overthinking, sound like I'm tripping, came to the States, feel like I'm going lazy. I came up to him, there was 4 of them, there was one of me, I liked all of them, they're like none of me. Still got lips, let's put it to use, and we smashed that night, she gave me the flu. Ay, I got sick and sad, man, it gave me the blues. So started thinking about life, all the shit I've been through. At 14 when I didn't have friends or school, I guess we could always improve. I miss my family, miss my home, wish I could visit a little more.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I guess, like, to a lesser extent, I have a sort of similar situation. Like, my dad lives in Abu Dhabi, because I used to live there. You know, he moved when I was like 12, and then me and the rest of my family moved over there when I was 13, I think. And now I live back in Scotland, moved back here when I was 18 when I finished school there. But my dad still lives out there, and that's like a 7 to 9 hour flight, which is really long, and I'm not the biggest fan of flying, so I don't go out there often. And I really wish I could visit more, you know, but the thing is, when I'm out there, I can't take my equipment with me, so I can't record videos. And it's not too bad, because my dad flies back here every summer and winter, so I'm not saying it's like a super like negative thing. You know, it's just a similar situation in that I live in a different country from my dad. It would be nice to, you know, visit Abu Dhabi more and see him more, but it's hard to do that when you have a job that kind of requires you to constantly be putting out content. So I relate to those lines, is what I was trying to say with that little personal story. I know, you don't care. It's you just want to hear me react to the music. I'll get back into it. Let's go.
Seeing tears in my mom's eyes, I don't blame her though. She used to feed me, now I live alone. When she realized that her son's a little too famous, a little too anxious. Well, I'm having no friends, no, he's singing on stage. Sometimes I still miss the nicotine. I've been nervous and vomiting. Doing shows don't even sound fun to me. No, I do not live for validation. Fuck your comments in your mama's basement. Always rich because it's what my name is. Riz is fucking with me, man, I made it. If I could, man, I would never change shit.
Hey, that was a nice upbeat end to the track, you know. Pretty emotional at some points, but it ended on a high note. That was a really nice song, man. That was really nice. Slowed it down compared to the last track, but it was very fitting for what the song was about, you know. It was something that was very introspective and told us a lot about Rich Brian. He kind of used a situation where he was basically in this party, he pulled a girl there, you know, after they smashed, she gave him the flu, he got sick and started to get sad, and that he used that kind of as a way to talk about how he was reflecting on his life. And you know, obviously he's happy for his success and everything, but it does mean that he gets to see his family a lot less. And you know, he's in a completely different place to the place that he grew up in. He also revealed quite a bit about his addiction to smoking and nicotine. He even struggled to get through a show because the withdrawal from it was so bad. So yeah, there was a lot of kind of sadder moments and reminiscent moments on the song. But it all ended on a high note, on a positive note, with him saying that he had a dream, he chased that dream, and he's succeeding doing it. He would never change it for anything because it got him to where he is. Honestly, this would have even worked as an outro track, so I'm interested to see what he actually does on the outro track, because this would have functioned well as that. So, let's move on to the last track on The Sailor by Rich Brian. Track number 12, Where Does the Time Go, featuring Joji. What a nice feature, man. I really love Joji's music, man. He's one of the few, like, non-rap artists that I just really love their music.
I can't do what you ask of me. But just stand right by the spotlight, cause I know you wanna be in it more. I pull up in a red Corvette, better get suit up, ready for more sex.
love this melodic stuff he's doing, man. Oh my god.
So catch me if you can. So catch me if you can.
And that is the end of The Sailor by Rich Brian. Goddamn. That was another slower, kind of mellow song to close the album out. And it was a nice one, man. Although I do feel like Curious would have been better as like a last track. Because I feel like that track had more meaning to it, kind of. And the way it built up to having that happy ending, I thought that was really nice. But this song wasn't bad at all. Interestingly though, I've always felt like I enjoy Rich Brian and Joji more separately than I do when they work together. Don't know why that is, but I've typically found that to be the case. But everything was still pretty solid on here. Just one of the ones that didn't hit me super hard like a lot of the other tracks on the album did. But still, nothing I can complain about on that one, really. So, now that we've finished it, what are my overall thoughts on The Sailor by Rich Brian? This is easily the best piece of work that he's ever made. Like, it completely blows Amen out of the water. And I liked Amen. I actually really liked Amen, but this one just completely destroys it in terms of everything. In terms of production, in terms of Rich Brian's vocals. I think I said this when I was talking about Slow Down Turbo, but just in terms of absolutely everything, this album destroys Amen. It's just so great to see a rapper evolve in this way. 3 years ago or something he made that stick, and now he's making this. This album was incredible. Real quick before I dive into my final thoughts about it, let's go through my favourite tracks and least favourite tracks from the project. So, we will start with least favourites, just because that's the easiest. Even the tracks on my least favourites list, I don't dislike, so keep that in mind. Least favourites, I'd have to actually say track number 1, The Sailor, was one of my least favourites. Again, not because I thought it was bad or anything, but just because I don't feel like that one really impacted me as much as a lot of the other tracks on the project. And outside of that, maybe Where Does the Time Go? Those are the only two that I could really single out as the ones that didn't connect with me as much as the other songs. As for my favourites, that's the harder one to pick because there's so many phenomenal songs on here, but I'll try. My favourites on this project, from what I can remember, were Yellow, Kids, Confetti, Vacant, and of course, Slow Down Turbo, and Curious. 6 tracks out of the 12 that I would label as like my favourite tracks. I don't really know if you can have 6 favourite tracks from a 12-track album, but I really loved just each one of those songs. And even the ones I didn't name, I still really enjoyed those songs as well. So even if they're not my favourites, I still really like them. This is an album that definitely went for quality over quantity. Like, none of the tracks were too long, and the album itself was just the perfect length. As I mentioned throughout the reaction, one of the things that stood out to me the most was just how evolved and improved Rich Brian's vocals are. And it's amazing that he's improved that much in such a short amount of time. There's a lot more emotion in his voice, singing a lot more, trying out a lot more melodies, and there's stuff like 100 Degrees, which are like vocal styles that I would never have expected him to do in a million years, but he pulls off like this emo rap, pop rap sound perfectly. And like he said, on this project, he was striving to make an album that would stand the test of time, and in my opinion, he has absolutely done that. This is not something that people are going to forget about in a week. So if you are one of those people that happen to, you know, not take Rich Brian seriously because of his kind of like meme rap past, I would highly suggest checking this album out because it's genuinely really amazing music. It's phenomenally put together. Another thing that really stood out to me was the production. Oh my god, shout out to Bekon and Rappy, who had like production credits all over this thing. They were incredible with the beats on here. Album of the year contender, no question. It's 100% gonna be on my album of the year list. I've always supported Rich Brian's music and I've always enjoyed it, but even then I just didn't expect something this amazing from him and this well crafted. The Sailor by Rich Brian, I think it's brilliant. Really love this. So that's all I have to say for today, guys. What did you guys think of The Sailor by Rich Brian? Did you love it as much as I did? Do you think it's an album of the year contender? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you didn't enjoy it as much. It's always good to see a variety of opinions down in the comments. And of course, I would appreciate you leaving a like on the video and subscribing if you want to see more content similar to this. And if you're already subscribed, it wouldn't hurt to turn on that notification bell. Thank you to Rich Brian for this one. This was phenomenal. And yeah, that's all I got to say for today, guys. This is CDTVThaG, signing out.